This year, Walibi Belgium saw the opening of Kondaa, a highly anticipated Intamin Megacoaster and the largest roller coaster that the park has ever built. Kondaa breaks the records held by both Goliath and Fury and has become the tallest and fastest roller coaster in the Benelux region. Is it any good though, and does it live up to the hype? Let's find out. I'm Rollercoaster David, and this is my review of Kondaa at Walibi Belgium. Let's start off as always with a detailed look at the ride's layout. Kondaa starts with a steep 45-degree lift hill that takes you up to a height of 164 feet or 50 metres. The first drop is at an angle of 80 degrees and twists sharply to the right, and when you reach the bottom you'll hit the ride's top speed of 70 miles per hour or 113 kilometers per hour. The first element is a huge 125 foot tall ejector airtime hill. This leads into a large outward banked airtime hill before diving down and into the ride's signature element, a non-inverting cobra roll. This element provides two separate moments of weightlessness as the track twists rapidly before you dive back down to ground level again and into another strong ejector airtime hill. After a high-speed turn to the right, you enter the world's first wall stall element before twisting sharply into a left-hand turn. Next is yet another ejector airtime hill, then a unique side-banked double down. After yet another airtime hill, there's a short S-curve section that leads into a low stangle dive to the left, an S-hump before the ride's finale of a trio of small airtime hills, the final one of which is offset at an angle before you finally hit the brake run and the ride is over. If there's one word to sum up Kondaa, it's airtime. The ride is packed with 15 different airtime moments, and most of them deliver the strong ejector air that manufacturer Intamin is famous for. The first drop packs quite a punch, particularly towards the rear of the train, where you'll be launched out of your seat. Just like Expedition Geforce, this drop has a twist to the right, although it doesn't seem to catapult you quite as forcefully as Expedition Geforce does. It's still a great drop though, albeit with its height of 50 metres making it all too brief when compared to full-size hypercoasters. The first airtime hill is simply fantastic though, and delivers sustained ejector air, just as you'd expect from this sort of Intamin ride. The forces are significantly stronger towards the front of the train in the morning, but once the ride is fully warmed up, every single seat experiences amazing ejector air over this element. The sideways airtime hill is just as good as well, giving a long sustained strong negative G experience at an offset angle. This is a great hands in the air moment, and you'll get a great view of the park whilst you're high in the air. As you pull up and twist into the non-inverting cobra roll element, you get a brief bit of floater air, and likewise as you exit the element you once again experience weightlessness. The element kind of reminds me of the first element of Karnan, with high up twists and dives and airtime. I'd seen a few comments from test runs that this element looked to be taken a bit slowly, but when you're actually riding it this isn't the case, and it feels like a well-paced fun addition to the ride. The wall stall is another fun element and gives some nice sideways floater sustained air, giving the ride a bit more variety, as most of the other hills and elements on the ride are focused on ejector air, and this gives a nice 0G sensation. The ride also maintains a good speed throughout, and the low to the ground turns help to maintain this thrilling speed sensation throughout the ride. There's one element that doesn't really work for me though, the side bank double down. This element just feels kind of awkward and jerky, throwing you from side to side as it dips in an uncomfortable way. This section almost feels like Intamin are trying to be RMC, making a weird section of track just for the sake of being different, rather than for making the ride better. It doesn't work, and detracts from the ride in my opinion. I'd have preferred a simple twisted airtime hill here, but instead there's this weird element that throws you in too many different directions too quickly to be enjoyable. The following airtime hill is textbook Intamin though, and a much better experience before the final section of the ride. The low to the ground sequence of an S-curve, stangle dive and S-hump all flow incredibly smoothly into each other and maintain a great sensation of speed as the ride twists and turns. Once more though, the final three elements aren't so much to my taste, and once again I feel like Intamin are copying the wrong parts of RMC's homework. The three tiny airtime hills at the end are just too small for my liking, and bounce you up and down in your seat too rapidly like a pogo stick. If you've seen a few of my videos before, you'll know my preference is for big elements with sustained forces, and the first 3/4 of the ride deliver exactly that, so it's a shame that the ending goes for these jerky sections of track instead. I had a similar criticism about the final part of Steel Vengeance with its small rapid pogo stick hills, and I know some people do like that design, but for me, I'd have preferred the ride to put in one or two bigger hills at the end, rather than these three tiny awkward ones. I've mentioned at a few points in this review comparisons to RMC, and this seems to have been a bit of a double-edged sword. Some elements, such as the wall stall and second element outward banked airtime hill, are simply brilliant, but the side bank double down and the pogo hills at the end don't work for me on this type of coaster. In my opinion, Intamin shouldn't be trying to be RMC, and should just stick to being Intamin instead. They are, of course, very good at being Intamin, and they've made some of my favourite coasters in the world, from Intimidator 305 and Hyperion to Flying Aces and Taran. In the past, Intamin have nearly always focused on the big elements with sustained forces, and that's what I love, and I hope they continue to make coasters in that style in the future. The theming of the ride is also worthy of mention, as it does look rather good. Kondaa is located in a section of the park called Exotic World, and this expands on the area containing the Tiki Waka roller coaster, with a slightly different prehistoric theme. Interestingly, the ride does have a bit of a story behind it, although you wouldn't really know that just from visiting the park. You'll only discover the story if you look quite deep into the park's website, or on Intamin's website, which has the following quote. The legend says that 5,000 years ago there was a frightful creature. Whoever tried to fight it paid it with their lives, except for one brave warrior who was able to tame this gigantic monster and snatch an egg from it. Forgotten until today, the egg hatches and the monster's back. Kondaa. Some of the ride merchandise does seem to include an egg theme to it, but apart from that I can't see any references to this story in the park, which is a little odd. The station theming does look pretty good though, and the scream of the monster as you start going up the lift hill is a nice touch as well. In summary, Kondaa is a well-themed, great fun coaster that focuses on airtime and delivers a well-paced, thrilling ride. The couple of bits I dislike are more than compensated for by the bits that I do like, and the big elements with sustained forces are all magnificent. Kondaa is a great coaster and a fantastic addition to the park, which has never had a coaster this good before. If you're wondering how it ranks compared to similar coasters, to me the most direct comparators would be Intamin's other Megacoasters, and whilst it can't hope to compete with the massive rides like Hyperion and Intimidator 305, it gives Goliath at Walibi Holland, Expedition Geforce and Superman the Ride at Six Flags New England all a good run for their money. I'd definitely say it's better than Goliath and Superman, but with Expedition Geforce it's quite a close call. I prefer the first drop, first airtime hill and finale of Expedition Geforce, but the mid part of Kondaa is definitely superior, and it's a lot more interesting than Expedition Geforce's sweeping overbanks. It's a really close call, but I'd probably just give the edge to Kondaa. It really is that good. So that's my review of Kondaa at Walibi Belgium, but it's not the only coaster to open in Belgium this year. Earlier this summer, Plops de Japan opened something really quite special called the Ride to Happiness, Europe's first Mack Extreme spinning coaster, and I'll be doing a full review of that quite remarkable ride in my next video, so keep an eye out for that next week. Anyway, if you've enjoyed today's video and want to see more, make sure to consider subscribing, and also, why not give it a like? I've been Rollercoaster David, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again in another video very soon.